What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time here on a nice Sunday afternoon. Here with Justin Van Zuden, here with TJ. Lots going on. We've got football right around the corner. We've got baseball today. Basketball's not too far in the future. Just always something going on here today. But welcome, everybody, to the show. And Justin, let's start off with you. How's your weekend going? Michaelis is on the mound today. I'm betting the Yankees. I hope you are too, my friend.
Oh, I've given up on the Cardinals, so my time, free time, has freed up to do other things, I guess, since the Cardinals have pretty much called it a season. But only a couple more Sundays where people are going to care about baseball. So that's only a couple more Sundays. I got to get up super early and write a big article. So I'm looking forward to, that becomes a grind after a while every weekend. So looking forward to a break and football in a few weeks. But we got a couple more weeks of baseball here, and we'll try to make them count.
Yeah, TJ, what's going on with you over there today?
Oh, not too much. Had a pretty good weekend. Been watching a lot of movies. Took down the Minimax on Friday, and so had a good little weekend so far. Didn't take anything down yesterday, but still made some money. The chat was giving me a hard time for saying I want to fade all the expensive pitchers, and lo and behold, went pretty well. And so take that, chat. But other than that, pretty great weekend so far.
We'll see if you want to fade expensive pitcher number one today. We'll see if you want to do a repeat today. So let's go. We'll start with Justin. We'll start with some pitching. I've got SimLabs pulled up. I can bring up the old lineup HQ2. We've got Garrett Crochet as our SP1, high strikeout potential, going up against the Marlins. The Marlins have been a little pesky, but their lineup doesn't look too great against left-handed pitching. If you pull up the plate IQ, he's 11-1. I'm not having any problem getting him on, unless you're stacking the most expensive offenses today. Really getting him on a roster today, Justin, it doesn't seem like it's cost prohibitive to use him. Is there anything in the performance that would make you not want to roll out Crochet today?
I don't think it's an absolute gotta have it, gotta lock it. He's my number one guy. I think particularly on DraftKings, you got to play him now. On FanDuel, maybe there's another conversation to be had because you've got the Coors Field game on FanDuel as well. With just the one pitcher over there, maybe you can get by without using Crochet. So it's to the point where he's my number one guy, but I don't feel like you absolutely have to roster him in, all of your lineups. I think you can get by without it today. So yes, he's the top guy. Yes, I'm playing him. I'm probably going to be overweight on the field, but I don't think it's extremely crazy to take a different path. If you're looking to get away from him, just from an ownership perspective, you could probably make a case for Nathan Eovaldi. But if I'm in that range, I'm just going to play Crochet at his salary instead of Eovaldi at, just slightly cheaper. So it's a matter of going for a bigger discount if you're looking to go cheaper. Will Warren is probably my favorite guy in that cheaper bucket. Maybe Christian Javier. Those are really the only two guys that can give you some strikeouts. Warren's facing the Cardinals, who are basically, just playing the young guys at this point. Our projections like Chris Paddock a little bit. I'm not quite as in on him. For me, it's Crochet, Eovaldi, Warren, and Javier is probably the top four. And you can kind of slice that for salary reasons, however you feel is best.
Yeah, Eovaldi was having a great season up until last start. He had a little bit of a speed bump, but it's not with the strikeouts. It's not with the dominating stuff some of these other pitchers have. It's just real world results, and we need that dominating stuff when we're paying a high price today. If the ownership holds true, Justin, basically a 4-1 advantage for Crochet over Eovaldi in tournaments. What do you maybe around 50% to maybe around 12.5%. What's you save a couple of bucks too, which is always helpful for some bats here. Is that a swerve you'd be willing to make in large field tournaments?
I think so. I don't really have a strong take on Eovaldi one way or the other. I don't love the matchup. Toronto's been hitting the ball pretty well, but definitely if you're building 20 plus lineups, I think you got to swerve to him in some. Paddock is the guy that I'm definitely underweight on. If he's coming in 20% plus, I know he's cheap, but just don't think there's a huge ceiling there. I think that people are kind of overplaying the revenge angle. Frankly, I don't think that the Twins offensively are as bad as a lot of people think they are right now. So Paddock is the guy I'm underweight on.
All right. Paddock or Assad, you got to pick one of those really, sub 7,000 pitchers today, Justin.
I think at the ownership we have him at, I'd take Assad. I mean, he's only projecting like 2 points worse, and at 1/8 of the ownership. There's pitch count concerns there, but good pitching weather at Wrigley. The Pirates team total is 2.9 runs. So yeah, I think based on the ownership, I'd take Assad.
All right, let's see what TJ is doing in tournaments. You faded the expensive pitching yesterday. TJ, will start with Garrett Crochet approaching 50% ownership when there's a lot of pitchers to choose from today. So what do we have? We've got 18, and he's going to eat up about 50% of the lineups on DraftKings. If this is true here today, is he worth all that ownership, all the price tag to you?
Yeah, it is. Like, I'm going to be over the field on him in large field tournaments. I do think in a single entry setting where he's going to be even higher owned, I would be very interested in playing 2 out of 3 of Will Warren, Dean Kramer, and Javier Assad and just fading Garrett Crochet today. But in 150 lineups, I am going to be over the field. It's just not that hard to get to him today. I was able to get to a ton of my 4 favorite stacks, even with playing 67% Garrett Crochet, which is how much I have right now. And so I will be getting to a ton of him in large field lineups. What just had me thinking a little bit is the Sports Connection in chat was asking about, he's in the DK Live final today. And so 100-man contest, he's wondering who should he be utilizing? Should he just put Crochet in, or should he try the fade? And in that one where, I feel like Crochet might end up being 70% owned, I don't hate the idea of just picking 2 of Warren, Kramer, and Assad and going that route. But having said that, like, if people want to know where my money is, it's on Garrett Crochet today. I have 67%, 40% Warren, 30% Kramer, 25% Assad. Those are the 4 guys that I'm going pretty significantly over the field on today. Much like Card said, I'm fading Chris Paddock. I don't like Chris Paddock at that ownership. I'm not buying in. There are 4 other pitchers I'm just taking like 5 to 10% shots on. Up top, Eovaldi, Javier, and then in the mid-tier, Barrios. Don't really like any of those options today, but just I'm still getting some just because they're fit different pricing tiers. They allow me to get to a few different lineups. And then the one other guy that I'm throwing in just because he's super cheap, but I don't like, is just because he's projecting pretty well. I have like 5% Thomas Hatch.
I talked to you last week into Ryan Berger. I'm going to do that to you again at 7,200 here today.
I don't think you are today.
Not today. Last week I did it. I understand there's a couple players in his price tag, but I do like, again, he's at the ownership. He's someone I would be highly overweight on today. If he's coming in at 4%, I would have into the double digits for sure in a large field allocation. Justin, let's I know TJ's on Warren and Dean Kramer. Warren against your Cardinals today. Would you rather back him at 8,200, or would you take a shot on Kramer?
Yeah, I'm kind of a Warren believer, to my own detriment sometimes, but yeah, I kind of like Warren. The Cardinals have, the bottom of their lineup looks a little funky. They called up Nathan Church today, so he's batting 9th. You got a new guy making his major league debut down there at the bottom of the order. Gorman's hitting 5th. We know he strikes out a lot. So, yeah, I like the matchup against the current state of the Cardinals lineup for Will Warren. So I'm going with him today.
Yeah, I like the Yankees as a money line today. I just think just completely overpower the Cardinals today in all aspects. We'll see how that ends up playing out.
From a FanDuel perspective, I probably do like, if I'm doing 20 lineups, 1 Javier, 1 Warren, 1 Kramer, 1 Eovaldi, and all the rest Crochet. Like, he's just so easy to get to on FanDuel.
Yeah, you don't have the Kettle Marte that's eaten into your Coors Field dollars over there today. Both teams, neither team's great, but they both rolled out like a C minus lineup over there in Coors on FanDuel today. So they're, everyone's reasonably attainable that you want to use. So yeah, just Crochet on FanDuel is just a very easy play. You're able to get most everything that you want over there. So Bergert's my guy as like a play that's lower owned that I think still has some upside today. Justin, if you had to pick somebody, I mean, I'm looking at some of these other names on there. I like Assad too. If Assad's coming in at
he would be the guy for me.
Yeah, he's one too. Definitely not Michaelis. Junk doesn't have a lot of strikeout stuff. Definitely not Eric Fetty. Hatch is 5,300. I think someone in chat was talking to him. TJ was talking about him. I understand it from the price. I'd bet the Tigers. I'll take the Tigers offense. Chris Paddock over Hatch. I'll take the bullpen advantage there for sure today. I know you think the Twins offense is better than people think. I think the Twins offense is maybe a little overrated. I think people are thinking they're so good right now with how some of these younger players have been hitting that maybe they're not as good. They do have Buxton back, which is a big plus. But
and what's Paddock going to be 20% owned for if the Twins are that?
I mean, I don't think he's going to be that highly owned. It's just like the cheap pitcher. I think it's going to be. I think Assad probably bumps up and they come a little closer neck and neck. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, logically that makes a little bit more sense. But that's kind of where I got the impression that people are just thinking that the Twins are going to roll over. And yeah, they have a few guys that have maybe been hitting over their heads a little bit. But who knows? I mean, his sample size is still pretty small for a lot of these guys. But it's been nice to see them take a little bit more competitive at bats.
TJ, what are you doing with Hatch? You mentioned you were throwing him in there. He's 5,300. Is it the price? Are you expecting a big game? Are you expecting him to outduel some of the other maybe next tier up in pitchers today? What's he doing for you?
Yeah, it's just the price. I'm not expecting anything out of him whatsoever. I think the likely scenario is Detroit rocks him, but he projects well for the price, and so I wouldn't touch him on FanDuel. But on Draftkings, you can just load up on, get your Aaron Judge and Jose Ramirez in the same lineup, do whatever the heck you want. And so I don't like him. I don't think he's going to do well, but just because he's so cheap and the projection is there, I will put him in, 5 to 10% of lineups.
Yeah, and then Javier is 9,600. He's basically the next tier down from Crochet and Eovaldi. TJ, I'll stick with you on this one. What are you doing with him? He did, what did he get up to? The mid 80s in pitch count in his last start, which was probably a little higher than I think people were getting up to. Yeah, he got up to 85. So if he gets to around, at least 85 to 90 today, up against Baltimore, who can be hit or miss, what's your, it looks like SimLabs is saying stay away from him, but what are you doing with Javier today?
Yeah, I'm staying away from him on DK for the most part. Like his optimal rate is 7%. I think I have 8% Christian Javier. So I still do have him. It's not a full fade, but I'll be under the field on FanDuel where he's, over $1,000 more expensive. I think he is my third favorite pitcher behind Crochet and Warren. But on DraftKings, I'm just getting to like a small touch of him, basically just because there's nobody else in that price range that I'm considering. And so he allows me to do a few different things in a few lineups.
All right. TJ's here. We've hit 50 likes. We need more of you to hit the like button to get more of the incoming Spidey bombs. TJ, let's start off Spidey bomb number 1. Who do we have for the people?
Yeah, let's keep smashing the like button as often as we can because I have a lot of Spidey bombs for the people today. And so the first one, we are going to Atlanta. They're all from 3 teams. And so first one, we're going to Atlanta, and it is Marcell Ozuna at plus 500 for Spidey Bomb number 1. We'll get the second one at 75 likes, third one at 100 likes, fourth at 125, et cetera, et cetera. But keep hitting the like button because I got lots that I like today. I feel like lately we've just been getting these terrible odds on home runs. And I don't know if the MLB is working with the books and they're saying, hey, look, we're going to give you some dead balls tonight. Let's juice up the odds. But the odds are really, really good today. So I'm liking the home run picks today.
Yeah, you got to check your books. I know that sometimes DraftKings, their odds have seemed a little thing. I don't want to bet home runs on DraftKings is basically what I'm trying to say over the past few weeks. I'm seeing for the main books on Ozuna, I don't have bet 365 pulled up, but I see a 450 on DraftKings, a 475 on ESPN. I don't know what bet 365 is. That might be the plus 500, but close enough to get people.
I personally got him at 450, so I still like it at those odds.
All right, let's talk some offense in general. Justin, what are we doing in terms of stacks? Even with Crochet, you're still able to get some of the offenses that you want today. You know, the Royals coming in as the highest owned stack today. I don't know about. I don't know. Maybe it's just because nobody wants shortstop's horrible, and you're playing Bobby Witt, and then if you're playing Bobby Witt, you might as well play the rest of the Royals. The Red Sox are interesting. They've been ever since they traded Devers. They've been an elite offense, but they're going up against Junk, who doesn't walk anybody. You know, he's going to make you work for it. He's not great, but it's hard to kind of blow him up today. What are we doing with him here? The Yankees. It looks like SimLabs is telling you to play all the Yankees with a big optimal minus ownership there. That's where I would be kind of attacking against Michaelis. I'm sure you would be in agreement with that. What do you think of how this is playing out?
Yeah, and I just happened to check the score of the first game that started an hour ago, the early Sunday start, because Aaron Nola is back for the Phillies today. It's his first start in 3 months. The Phillies were up 6-0 in the top of the second, and it's now 6-6 in the bottom of the third. So 6 runs in the bottom of the third inning for Aaron Nola, and he's out of the game. Can't remember a pitcher that's fallen off as quickly as he has. His ERA is 6.92 now. So 6-6 Nationals and Phillies going to the fourth inning. If you bet the Nationals and wrote it off at 6-0, it's you're alive again. So that's the early start today. But for these teams, I'm in agreement. I think the Yankees are the best when you factor in ownership. I think that optimal rate on the Red Sox is too high. Junk, as you mentioned, doesn't walk anybody. Bregman's out today, so you're just going to have to string together a ton of BABIP if you want to be the optimal stack against him, and that's not the way I want to approach it. So if I'm doing that against a hittable pitcher, I'll take all the power for the Yankees against Michaelis instead of the Red Sox against Junk. So give me the Yankees number one. Obviously, both Coors Field teams on FanDuel. I actually kind of like the Rockies a little bit today when you consider salary and ownership. But on DraftKings, you don't have that. So I'm going with the Yankees. And then from there, it's kind of a mix and match. I think the Braves are fine. I'm underweight the Red Sox. I'm underweight the Royals. You can mix and match any of these other teams. The Tigers, the Guardians, I think if you're telling me that the Guardians are only going to have like a 5% ownership against Eric Fetty, like it's rare I'd take the Guardians as a top stack, but this would be the matchup to do it. I mean, with Fetty and Michaelis pitching on the same day as a Cardinals fan is breaking my brain, but they're both offenses against those two guys are certainly fine. So in terms of the offenses I'm most overweight on, it's the Yankees and the Guardians and probably the Braves a little bit.
Yeah, on FanDuel, you can get cores unless you're playing Perdomo and you're playing Corbin Carroll. You can get basically anyone you want from that game with Crochet fairly easily. We don't have that option on DraftKings. So TJ, where are you looking at for offense over here today? Again, the first thing I pulled up scores and odds. I see Eric Fetty starting. I see it's against the Guardians. I go bet the Guardians team total for the first 5 innings. It's like an automatic bet. It was 2.5. I think it's plus. I think it's like even money. You guys can go bet that. Guardians first 5 over 2.5. I'm imagining for you, TJ, if the ownership holds, I think the Yankees are probably going to be the highest owned stack today. The Boston will too. I know the bats on them, they're reasonably priced. You can get to them even with Crochet. I think those are pretty easily going to be the highest 2 offenses, with maybe teams like the Royals and Braves coming in second.
Well, we do got Spidey Bomb number 2 just dropped, growing at the bottom of the screen to go along with Marcelo Ozuna. We have Jazz Chisholm for plus 400. So keep hitting that like button. Like I said, we got lots and lots of Spidey Bombs today. Next one coming at 100 likes. In terms of stacks today, yeah, like you said, on FanDuel, it's a clear Arizona number 1. The tier 1 of DraftKings and then the tier 2 of FanDuel. I would throw Colorado into this tier 2 on FanDuel. But it's like, I think on DraftKings, it's a clear top 4 for me, and they're all pretty equal. Boston, Atlanta, New York, and Cleveland. Those are the 4 that I'm trying to get to an absolute ton of today. Love this spot for all of them. If I had to choose one just straight up, it would be the Yankees, but I do think they're also a little tougher to get to price-wise. And so Atlanta would probably get my number one edge overall, just because they got a lot of guys that are really, really easy to get to in that lineup, like a Marcelo Ozuna. And Ronald Acuna is still very underpriced. And so I really like Atlanta today as probably my slight edge number one on DK. But the Yankees, the Guardians, and the Red Sox all in that exact same tier with them. If I was probably playing 20 lineups, I don't even know if I would go beyond those 4 teams. But outside of that, I would say Milwaukee, Cincinnati, Detroit as my next favorites that I'm going to a fair amount.
Justin, it's going to be heartbreaking seeing Milwaukee just win every game somehow, even like their pitching has been doing well and their bats, they're not the greatest, but they get it done every day here. And look like nobody's playing them again today. Are they an offense you'd want to target? And then is there anything down towards the bottom, right? I'd probably say the Twins. I don't think Paddock's not, if Paddock's going to be that highly owned, which I don't think, but he's still going to be reasonably owned. If nobody's playing the Twins, that looks like a pretty nice spot to get some leverage there.
I live in Cub country, so I had a Cubs fan at the office come up to me a couple weeks ago and say, the Brewers just can't keep this up. There's no way they can keep playing at this level. And since we had that conversation, the Brewers are 13-0. So I think the answer is that they can. It does surprise me that, they're 29-4 in their last 33 games. Like if you would have guessed that any team would have a 29-4 stretch over a 33 game spell this year at the beginning of the year, you probably would have picked 15 teams ahead of the Brewers. So kudos to them for, the development of their pitchers and just the offense doing enough every day. It came back in the 9th inning again last night. And frankly, the Reds might be a little bit deflated. That was a really tough loss last night. Abbott's a fly ball guy. I probably have to be like 25 lineups deep or so before I'm targeting Brewers stacks, but I don't think it's crazy for sure. Especially because they're never chalky.
Yeah, give me the Tigers too. So mine would be the Guardians against Fetty and the Tigers against Minnesota and the bullpen there. It just seems like two offenses a little lower owned if you're going off the board for me today. All right, so before we get to position by position, let me tell you guys about Fantasy Labs. It's your home for season-long fantasy football and best ball content. You can get access to rankings, projections, articles, and more from award-winning experts like Sean Kerner and Chris Raybon. And now has an app that allows you to get real-time rankings, cheat sheets, and more. You can sign up with code RG15 for $15 off over at Fantasy Labs. I would highly recommend both Kerner and Raybon's stuff to everybody out there. All right, let's go position by position here. I want to start on FanDuel, and I want to ask you, we've got at the catcher/first base, we've got the Orioles have called up Samuel Basallo, a good hitting catcher prospect. You basically need one cheap guy on FanDuel today, Justin, to make it work. So are you playing Basallo or are you playing the leadoff hitter, Ronnie Simon, for the Pirates here? I think Simon probably a better play on Draftkings than FanDuel. And if I'm playing cheap, I'm probably going to play Basallo. I know they're different positions, but you need like that one cheap guy on FanDuel today. Do you have a thought about that?
Well, that's how the Coors plus Crochet lineups work for sure. You probably got to get somebody down there. And you could even throw Monasterio into that mix. He's leading off for the Brewers today. Correa, Yastrzemski, like those are all guys that are under 3K. I'm probably not playing Ronnie Simon. The Pirates total is so low that even though he's leading off, I'd probably take the Baltimore prospect. But you've got flexibility on FanDuel because you don't need a catcher. It's not like if it was a 2K, okay, it's a spot where we've got Coors and we've got Crochet and we need a 2K catcher on DraftKings. I would be more interested. But I don't have a strong take on who to play at 2K. But I'd probably play Basallo before I played Simon.
All right, so I wanted to get that out. That was a question I know I had personally earlier. I figured maybe a couple other people did too, so I'll throw that out.
Back to FanDuel, you have to go Ben Rice. He is way too cheap over there.
Yes, he definitely is over there.
I would try and save salary somewhere else and go Ben Rice at 31.
What about for DraftKings, Justin? Back to, are you going with like a cheap catcher, like any lefty bat against Eric Fedde? Sign me up. We've got Bo Naylor at 2,700. He looks pretty good. If you are playing Roche and you want to play like an Aaron Judge, or maybe if you want one or maybe two of the expensive bats, you have to make a couple of these, sub $3,500 plays on your DraftKings team today. Would catcher be a spot for that, or would you be paying up for Rice or Salvador Perez?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can go cheap at catcher. I like Sean Murphy a good bit. I wish he wasn't hitting 7th, but good power numbers against lefties. So at 3,200 on DK, I think that's reasonable. And then, as you mentioned, Naylor at 2.7K, as usual, not paying all the way up for William Contreras. Ben Rice is 4,500. Sal Perez is 4,200. So it's probably one of those two guys, or Murphy at 32 or Naylor at 27. Unless you're playing somebody in your stacks, but otherwise that's probably my pool at first base or a catcher today.
Yeah. Anyone else you're looking at, TJ?
Ben Rice and Bo Naylor are my clear top two guys. They're going to occupy almost 50% of my lineups. After that, it's mostly just guys in stacks. So like Sean Murphy, Ryan Jeffers. I like Danny Jansen quite a bit. That's about it.
All right, let's go over to first base. Again, you've got Ben Rice available on DraftKings for that. I see Vargas is popping in here. He's 2,800 on DraftKings. That's a really cheap price for someone hitting in the middle of the lineup. Now it is the White Sox lineup. Normally he's been like a $3,300 to $3,800 player. Justin, he's come down a little bit from maybe a little bit of a better start he had earlier in the season, but that price tag hitting cleanup makes him very viable today. Is this a position you find yourself wanting to spend on? Are we playing Vlad against Evaldi? No. Are we playing Olsen lefty? No. So it probably starts with Torkelson against Hash, and then you're in the Ben Rice, Manzardo range, and then you're basically all the way down to a guy like Vaughn. So what do you prefer?
Yeah, I like Manzardo a lot. Again, that lefty power against Fedde, sitting cleanup today. Vaughn against the lefty, I think, is fine as a one-off play. And then Vargas at 2,800. I mean, I do like the White Sox a good bit as a cheap stack. The White Sox are kind of a way you could get a cheap stack with Crochet and like an Aaron Judge or Acuna around it. So for that reason, I think the White Sox are viable with a 4.2 run team total. Not that they're spectacular by any means, but yeah, Rice, if you're playing him, I think probably goes at catcher. And then my top first baseman would be Manzardo, Vaughn, Vargas, and yeah, you could throw Vinny P into that mix too.
All right, TJ, what do you like at the first base position? You're probably going to like some Ben Rice. Is anyone else popping for you?
So I do really like Ben Rice today. He is my top option on FanDuel. You can play Cody Bellinger there as well. I like him quite a bit. I do have a question for you guys. And did you talk about Rowdy Tellez, or did I miss it?
He's down. I just think his pinch hit, so he's 25. I feel like his pinch hit risk is very, very, very high.
For who?
Well, actually, yeah, maybe today's it's a little bit lower, but he's
Burner's already in the lineup.
Yeah, 2,500 against Berrios. Would you play him over a Vargas?
I would. I think Tellez is going to be my next favorite option. My next top option there with Manzardo coming in third. I really like Manzardo, and that was my question was going to be for you guys. Would you go Tellez and J-Ram or Manzardo and Durbin batting second today for Milwaukee?
I mean, that would be the first one. Anytime you can get J-Ram in there today, it's pretty good. So I like that one, right, Justin?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
All right, let's lock it in.
All right, so there's some first base. Yeah, don't forget about Tellez. Our ownership, I think, is very low on him. He'll probably be a little bit higher than 2% owned, if you ask me.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite punts today.
Second base, looks like ownership is spread out a little bit, topping with Jazz Chisholm. I don't know. You've got Simon is 2,100. I wouldn't play him on FanDuel. I think he might be 2K even on FanDuel, but 2,100 on DraftKings. If it gets you Crochet and it allows you to elevate to one of your favorite bats like a Jose Ramirez, Aaron Judge, a Bobby Witt, whatever you want to do, something like that. If it gets you the extra bat you want somewhere else, I think he's in play maybe more for cash than tournaments. For tournaments, I don't know. He's probably a play I wouldn't want because I don't see a lot of upside for him, if that makes sense, even at the low price. So are you preferring, do you think Simon's in play on DraftKings, Justin? It seems like you weren't on him even at the $2,100 price tag. Do you think he's someone you should be targeting?
I mean, it's tricky because second base just kind of stinks.
Yeah.
So, the highest fantasy point projection we have here on DraftKings is 9 with Chisholm, and then nobody else, really projecting 8.4 is the next guy, and that's Lennon Sosa. So it's an ugly position. If you are doing that just to save the salary and get an extra bet on or an extra pitcher on DraftKings, I get it with Simon. That's the logic behind doing it, because there's not a lot of opportunity cost at the position. He's leading off, he's min salary. And I don't think that, getting up to Jazz at 4,900, unless you're stacking the Yankees, is probably the optimal way to play second base today. I think you are probably going to want to save a little money. Now, if you're not going all the way down to Simon, I think Sosa's fine. I think Jackson Holiday's fine. I think Ozzy Albies is fine. So you've got options in that 3K range that maybe project a little bit better than Simon if you don't trust don't trust him to stay in the game for 9 innings in a potential late inning situation. B, the wind is blowing in. So, I don't think there's a big ceiling there. But because the position is so uncomfortable with not a lot of upside, you can just punt there. So I get it on DraftKings. With the multi-position eligibility on FanDuel, it's a little bit different. So DK, I think you can make more of a case.
TJ, what do you think? Basically, a DraftKings to me is going to be Jazz. You're going to be in like the Jackson Holiday at 3,800. I don't mind Albies at 3,300, or from the tournament perspective, Simon probably wouldn't be on my radar, but from like the cash game perspective that I am more into, that's where I'm using Simon. What are your thoughts on all that?
I would rather get up to Monasterio if I can. I know he probably turns into Bryce Terang as soon as a righty comes in, but Abbott can go a fairly long leash, and if he doesn't, it's probably because he's getting lit up. And Monasterio is a guy that typically doesn't have a lot of power, but not a lot of power can all of a sudden turn into something when you're playing in a really small ballpark with good weather. So I do like Andrew Monasterio a fair amount. I would hesitate to one-off him too much in tournaments, just because I do worry about that pinch hit risk. But if I'm going super cheap, I would rather find the $800 to get up to Monasterio than to use Ronnie Simon. My top option by far is Jazz Chisholm. He's one of my favorite bats on the slate. Weak position. And so I just want to play as much Jazz as I can. I still like him on FanDuel up at 3,800. While I feel like Blaze Alexander is the top option there, but you might not be playing him at second. You might be playing him at third or somewhere else. But Blaze is the top option over there, followed by Jazz, followed by Jackson Holiday. Whereas on DraftKings, it's just Jazz, Jackson Holiday, then Monasterio for me.
We're up to 105 likes. TJ, what do we need for Spidey Bomb number 3?
Spidey Bomb number 3, we have already reached it. And so we're going with Ronald Acuna at plus 400. Keep hitting the like button because I got more Spidey Bombs every 25 likes. We got Marcell Ozuna, Jazz Chisholm, and Ronald Acuna as the first 3. Next one coming at 125 likes. 5th one coming at 150 likes. So keep hitting that like button.
All right, let's go to third base. Money is no object. Jose Ramirez is probably, I still think Aaron Judge is back, right? He's had some power since he's come back. I'm ready to jump on. Last week I was off Aaron Judge. I'm on the Aaron Judge. He's seen it. He's back. To me, he can play just fine. I'm back on Aaron Judge. He's the top play of the day. But man, Jose Ramirez is simply just not that far behind against Eric Fetty. I was trying to mess around with a few like Jose Ramirez or Bobby Witt or Aaron Judge like swap arounds. I haven't come to one that really makes a lot of sense. And it's mainly because I have like a Colt Keith, a Jordan Westburg even. these guys are just they're too cheap given their matchups today, and I find myself going more towards them, Justin, as much as I want Jose Ramirez. And then on FanDuel, you have, that was more DraftKings. On FanDuel, you can you can almost full stack the Coors game with Garrett Crochet if you make one or two, cheapest decisions elsewhere. What do you think? I want Jose Ramirez, but he's pretty tough to pull up with the Crochet lineups.
Yeah, good save on the cheapish there. I've kind of come to the same conclusion, and it feels a little bit strange, but I want to try to get Judge against Michaelis today, and Ramirez just kind of comes in second, but the position is, it's just, there's not a whole lot of big upside guys, right? In the outfield, you can always find some big upside guys. So if you decide to prioritize Ramirez, especially in cash games, like, I get it. I have a little bit more Aaron Judge because
the way to play Ramirez, Judge, and Crochet on DK Cash today.
Well, you get playing Simon or somebody else for sure.
Monasterio and Tellez were the two ways to make it happen, and Yoshida in the outfield.
You can get two of Judge, Witt, or Ramirez on DraftKings Cash.
I faded Witt. Yeah, I faded Witt.
You can get two of the big names on DraftKings pretty easily. Okay. I just I want to play Jose Ramirez over Bobby Witt. I just couldn't figure out how to do it. Maybe TJ figure. I think shortstop might be even worse unless you're playing Monasterio on
the way that I did it was by, I feel like the correct way would have been Albies at second, Monasterio at short, but I'm doing it the incorrect way and playing somebody who is a little hot against a bad pitcher that projects absolutely horribly. So I'm playing a not cash game play at shortstop today.
All right. Well, maybe we'll talk about that when we get over there. But what about third base in general for you, TJ, from a tournament perspective? I like guys like, I want Jose Ramirez. What else is popping for you?
Caleb Durbin is the guy that I'm getting to the most after Jose Ramirez. On FanDuel, I really like. On DraftKings, I like McMahon too. But on FanDuel, I like McMahon, and I also like Schneemann over there. That DraftKings is only outfield eligible, so I like him a lot less. But on FanDuel, I like Schneemann quite a bit. It goes on Ramirez, Durbin, McMahon for me, and then Miguel Andujar right behind them if you need another salary saver. I am playing a lot of Will Warren today, but I like Nolan Gorman quite a bit as a one-off. That'd be about it.
Yeah, Schneemann, I think he's every position eligible on FanDuel. You're probably going to find a way into your lineup over there today at 2,700. I think he's a reasonably good player today. All right, let's go to short. I want to cut the suspense. TJ, who is this unnamed player that you were thinking about playing at the shortstop position?
It's Javi Baez. I kind of like Baez today against a really low strikeout pitcher. He's a guy that typically is crushed by high strikeout guys, but when someone's just going to be either walking you or throwing the ball in the middle of the plate, and Baez doesn't really like to walk, I kind of think it's a nice spot for him. 2 hits in back-to-back games, an extra base hit in each one of them. I know that means kind of nothing, but he's been pretty good this year. Hell, he was an all-star. And so I do like on a slate where I don't love spending up for Bobby Witt or Ellie De La Cruz, and a lot of my lineups would, if I could get to Story or even Colson Montgomery, great. But a lot of lineups I can't, and so I don't mind just going with some Javi Baez here.
Yeah, and Baez, Justin, he's like the streakiest hitter. To me, if I had the epitome of a streaky hitter in baseball, it's Javi Baez. He's had 2 hits in back-to-back games. To me, he's more due for a big game today because he's been hitting well. I know that's been in years past. Does that ring a bell for you? Is that just?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's. He'll go 0 for 30 and then 6 for 10. That's pretty much been his whole career.
Yeah. So maybe TJ's onto something there. What do you like at shortstop? If you had rank Judge, Witt, and Jose Ramirez, for me it would be Judge, Jose Ramirez, and then probably a decent step to Bobby Witt. But the shortstop position overall, Trevor Story's 4,400, but it's against junk. Story's been hot. He's hitting well for that Boston offense. It's one of those two guys probably for me. And if you go to Witt, or if you go from Witt to Story, it really opens up some of you don't have to play a Vargas or a Tellez or somebody like that. You can play, too reasonably. You don't have to pay, for a sub 3K outfield or things like that.
Yeah, I'd rank them in the same order. I mean, our projections love Bobby Witt. I mean that our projections just have him through the roof. To me, that's a little. The number that we have on him for fantasy point projection is a little too hot. He's got one home run since the first of the month. So, I don't know. At that salary, I tend to think that Bobby Witt's ownership gets a little out of control sometimes. I think that number is a little too high for my liking. So now, if you're stacking the Royals, yeah, you put him in there. But going down to Story or Seager or Pena or Colson Montgomery, like all these guys at much lower ownership that save you over $1,000. Even Gunnar Henderson, you can make a case for. Now, these guys have tougher matchups, which is part of the reason why Witt is projecting so well. And if you just, play for the block and play Witt in cash games with that build that Britt was talking about just a minute ago, I think that's totally fine. But being underweight on Witt in tournaments is the approach I want to take, mixing and matching some of these other guys that are coming in at much less ownership today.
What else are you looking at for tournaments, TJ, at shortstop?
So I just got a new set of lineups in, and Bobby Witt is my highest owned here in large field tournaments, but I'm going to be under the field. And so I'm getting about 15% Bobby Witt right now. Next is Trevor Story, who would probably be my first choice on FanDuel at only 3,100. Colson Montgomery as well as a guy that I keep playing, and it keeps going really well for me. I think he's underpriced on both sites. I like Colson Montgomery quite a bit. I think Ellie De La Cruz is a fine pivot off of Bobby Witt, and then he hasn't been playing great recently, but totally nothing wrong with playing some Corey Seager either.
All right, let's go to the outfield. I was just browsing through a couple of decisions I have to make, so we'll try to. I've got some this guy, that guy type questions. We'll get to both of you guys for. So we have Aaron Judge. You can get to Aaron Judge. He would be my priority bat against Michaelis today. And I think all three of us, TJ, if you had to pick one bat, it's Aaron Judge today, even over Jose Ramirez.
Yes. Yeah, he is not my highest owned in tournaments, but from a cash perspective, if I'm picking one, it's Judge.
Yeah, I think so. Judge for all three of us would be the priority. Justin, the next, you're probably, I guess, do you believe this Boston total? Right, because it's over 5 against junk. You do get to the bullpen a little bit here. They've been playing. If there's bats that have been playing a little over their head, it might be Boston to me. But it's been a while now that they've been playing over their head. So I don't know what are we doing here with them? Because between Duran and Anthony and Yoshida, we've got there's another guy at 2,900 we can talk about here. But do you believe that Boston deserves all this ownership at what I would consider probably reasonable prices for most of them?
Yeah, I think the ownership is, the ownership, is kind of driven based off the team total too. So the team total is 5.4 runs. So it makes sense. But I mentioned I'm underweight on this team today. Bregman's not in the lineup. Junk doesn't walk anybody. I do think that they've probably been hitting over their heads just a bit. Duran and Roman Anthony are pretty expensive. So I give me Judge, give me Acuna, give me Buxton against a relatively chalky Paddock. I think those guys are your pivots. Even in cash games, I don't think you need to pay all the way up for some of those Boston guys. Like, I think the cash game outfield choice, if you're looking at Boston, is Yoshida because he's super cheap and he's hitting cleanup. So you get Judge, you get Yoshida, and then, pick your other favorite mid-range outfielder and you kind of round out your cash game builds. But at their salaries, probably not getting to as much Duran or Anthony today.
So you mentioned Yoshida. So he's a direct, this is this guy or that guy, Yoshida or Tauchman for the White Sox. They're both 2,900 today. Tauchman leading off on the road, Yoshida hitting 4th at home. If things, if both games go basically the same, you probably do get a full extra at bat from Tauchman, probably leading off on the road. You got to choose between those two. This is a decision I think a lot of people are going to have. Who you got?
Yeah, I think it's Yoshida in cash games and Tauchman in tournaments is how I would do it.
TJ, what would you choose between those two today?
For me, it's Yoshida in both, and I am going to be prioritizing these Boston guys just because I think, their prices are appropriate for a regular game against Eric Fedde. I don't think their prices are appropriate for a 90-degree, 10-mile-per-hour winds blowing out directly to center game. And so I want to still get to a lot of these Boston guys. In my final run here, they ended up my third highest owned stack behind the Yankees and the Braves. The Yankees ended up popping up there to number one. So I'm still prioritizing them in tournaments on DraftKings, not in cash outside of Yoshida, though. On FanDuel, I think Jarren Duran and Roman Anthony are the two biggest priorities in the outfield at only $3K and $3,400. I think you need at least one of those guys. And then if you want to get different in a tournament, you go Wilyer Abreu at $3K. I really like these outfielders on FanDuel. I also think on FanDuel, I would prioritize Corbin Carroll over Aaron Judge. On DK, I like Aaron Judge over Ramirez if I'm and Witt if I'm prioritizing, multi-position spend ups. But on FanDuel, where they're almost the same price, I think I would go Corbin Carroll over Aaron Judge in Coors Field. And then in my own builds on DraftKings, I'm getting into a lot of Marcell Ozuna. He's my favorite outfielder on the slate with how cheap he is. Ronald Acuna is underpriced, so I'm getting to a ton of him, getting as much Judge as I can. Michael Harris, even in the lefty-lefty, I'm okay with. Wilyer Abreu, I like quite a bit. It's a position I'm outside of Yoshida, Harris, and Ozuna. I'm spending up for a decent amount, or at least 4K and above. Like I'm still getting the Yankees guys, Grisham and Bellinger. Byron Buxton, I think, is underpriced. And then my salary savers, I'm looking at outside of Harris, Yoshida, and Ozuna. I'm looking at Tauchman, Yastrzemski, Colton Cowser, Wenzel Perez.
I want to circle back to FanDuel and Duran at 3,400. Do you want him over the Coors games, over Beck, over Moniak? If you're, Tovar, if you're, mixing around with the utility spot, would you want him over some of those guys that are direct outfield replacements?
Yeah, I think I do. Maybe Moniak would be the only guy I'd consider over him, but I still think I'd rather Jarren Duran.
All right. And then I've got a couple like this guy, that guy's. Maybe I'll save them for the questions here as I'm trying to pile in here today. But that was some outfielder takes. We'll take some of your questions now. You can post them either into the RotoGrinders Discord in the live stream chat, or you can post them into YouTube, and we will see what we can get going for you guys there. I'm looking at the Discord. I see a couple. Someone want to know a couple of bets. I'm on the Yankees. I'm on the Tigers. I'm on the Guardians first five over 2.5 runs. If you're looking for a couple of bets for me today from Scores and Odds.
I did drop the fourth Spidey bomb scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Kyle Manzardo at plus 400. So keep hitting the like button, get us up to 150, and I do got a fifth one for the people. So we're 20 likes away. Keep hitting that like button. We got more than enough people watching to make it happen. All you got to do, take your mouse, give it a little slide, give it a little click. If you're watching on your phone or tablet, you got to hit the X on the chat. You got to hide the chat, hit the X, then give us a like. You can pull the chat back up, but we do appreciate it. Plus, you got some free home run calls.
All right. Sherman in the Discord. I've got the Discord up. I see some people typing. I'll stick there for a minute. He wants to know, we talked about this earlier at the beginning of the show, but he wants a FanDuel punt of all the, let's say, sub 2,200 guys on FanDuel today. Justin, you've got Basallo, you've got Simon, and I think you had another one on there too. I'm on Basallo on FanDuel at 2,100, hitting 6. A good prospect with some power. Javier's coming back off, long stint in the IL. I'll take Basallo as my cheap FanDuel play of the day. Who are you looking at?
Yeah, Monasterio would be the other one at 2,200, which I would be fine with. Probably not playing Simon on FanDuel, so it'd be between Basallo and Monasterio for me.
Yeah, Simon's more of a DraftKings play for me. I think we talked about that a little earlier. Alex wants to know priorities for DraftKings cash. So I'll get this out of the way. Garrett Crochet for pitcher. Let's each give Justin, I'll go to you, then I'll go, and then TJ. Let's have one bat we each need to have for DraftKings cash today?
Were you sending that to me first?
Yeah, I'll go to you first. Give me your favorite bat. You got to have him on DraftKings cash.
Okay, well then it's Aaron Judge. I'll make it harder on the two of you.
I figured you would do something like that. So I would agree. I think we're all on that one. I'm going to throw in, how about maybe just for lineups to be able to get Aaron Judge and Garrett Crochet, I'm going to give you Simon at second base. He's someone I'm on. I think at that $2,100 price tag, you got to make a concession somewhere. I'm on him personally. TJ, what are you doing?
I'll take it. Yeah, no, I'll just say Yoshida as the salary saver that you need for cash.
Yep, that's another one too. So I like all those, and all of those players are on my DraftKings cash lineup personally. Let's see. Blink wants to know Ben Rice and Nolan Jones or Bo Naylor and Yankees outfielder that's 4,300 or less. So that would be like a Trent Grisham probably, or
I like
probably
that one.
like a Trent Grisham. So you go Naylor and Grisham.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's probably where I would be at too. TJ, would you play Rice and Nolan Jones or Naylor and, let's say, Trent Grisham?
Naylor and Grisham.
Yep. I think I would be on that too. Let's see. So that looks like Discord's pretty much taken care of. Going back over to the YouTube, I'll work my way backwards here. Kremer or Warren? I'm definitely Warren for me. Justin, I know you're probably on Warren.
Yep.
Not only is he have some strikeout stuff, but he's against your Cardinals. And they're not looking too hot, right? Are we all on Warren over Kremer if we got to pick one today?
Oh, it might be closer for TJ than it is for us. I know he's on Kramer a little bit.
I'm still on Warren over Kramer.
All right. I like that from all of us. Let's see. Outfield utility option for FanDuel cash. This is from Chris. This is a 3-fer. So let's pay attention here. So it's Yankees or Red Sox, basically. Grisham, Rice, and then Trevor Larnach, or Roman Anthony, Jalen Duran, and Yoshida for FanDuel cash. Where's the Coors game over on FanDuel? You got to get Coors in there somewhere.
Is that all Yankees?
I don't think you need Coors in the outfield other than Carroll, though, and so that could be their util. They could already have them.
It's hard. It's hard for me to look past Moniak or back even. I mean, this is just. I mean, I'll take the Coors field. I understand wanting to play Duran and Yoshida and all.
But was that question 3 Yankees versus 3 Red Sox? Did I hear that correctly?
It was Grisham, Rice, and Larnach.
Oh, okay.
Out of all that, I think I would play Anthony Duran and Yoshida over.
I wouldn't play 3 Red Sox outfielders in cash games though.
Yeah,
like I don't know. I don't understand the logic of stacking up. Like you can mix and match those guys. You can play
They're
Duran.
Just all such good price. Like they're facing the worst pitcher on the slate. They project the best, and they're like
Junk is not the worst.
Yeah, I was gonna say I respect Junk more than the average person, so that's where the disconnect comes in for me.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking in my brain. I was just thinking Fetty. But sorry, it's a pitcher who like throws the ball down the middle, like he's pitching for contact, and it's 90 degrees with 10-mile-an-hour winds.
We got a couple other questions. Battis wants to know Javier Assad or Ryan Berger. So Assad is like I think I'm higher on Assad. I know he didn't have a great outing first time out, but I mean it doesn't get much better than pitching at home with the wind in against the Pirates. I mean, I think he's getting overlooked if his ownership's only in the low double digits today, Justin.
I would agree with that.
So I like Berger for large field tournaments, but if I have to pick, I'm going to take Assad. Do you have a take on that, TJ, from more of a large field tournament?
Yeah, Assad's my number 3 guy behind Warren and Crochet. So like I like Assad a lot. It goes Crochet, Warren, Assad, Kramer for me.
Why are so many people on your Cardinals today? This seems like a no-brainer. Who would you rather play between Grisham, Burleson, or Nootbaar? I mean, this isn't even close, Justin. It's Grisham by like a mile to me. What are these people doing with your Cardinals?
Well, lefties against Warren. I mean, he has allowed some pops, so I kind of get it. But yeah, I'm on Grisham as well.
Yeah, I think that would be the smart way to do. Uh-oh, I clicked something on the YouTube. Not good. All right, let's see if I can get this out here. All right. So we got that one. 8K and under pitcher on FanDuel. Anyone have something good? I haven't delved that deep on FanDuel. Crochet was just the lock. So you got to go under 8K. So that's in the Bergert, Quintana, Logan Allen range. Assad is in there too. Probably Assad or Bergert. I'd probably still stick in that for me. Anyone else have a better take?
Assad, but I don't think I'd do it on FanDuel.
You got it.
I agree with that. Yep.
Where we at on likes, TJ? People want more Spidey bombs.
143. So 7 likes away from one more Spidey bomb.
All right. Click the like. We'll get there, guys. Cody wants to know Naylor and Sosa or Ben Rice and Ronnie Simon for, you're trying to save some money here. So do you want the cheap? I don't know. Naylor and Sosa or Rice and Simon? I like Naylor.
I don't have a strong take on that.
I like both of those fairly equally. There's one I like and one I don't like, and both of them.
Yeah. I'd probably go Rice and Simon if I had to choose personally there, just to get a good Yankees power bat against Michaelis. I think I would probably do that one. Weather worries. The weather looked clear, right, Justin? There's no weather concerns today, so didn't even lead with that today.
There could, Warren could get a mid-game delay. It would just be Roth said it's yellow for storms could pop up around the park, and we're just hoping they don't pop up on the park.
All right. Here's a good one. So Naylor and Aaron Judge or Ben Rice and Roman Anthony. So you get two individually, like really, middle, higher end middle plays, if that makes any sense, or stars and scrubs with Naylor and Judge.
It's Naylor and Judge for me.
I would play Naylor and Judge too. TJ, you love Ben Rice. Would you swap to Rice and Anthony on that one?
Yeah, I think I might.
I like both of them.
I love both of those sides, though. Like, you can't go wrong with either side.
Chris says Blaze on FanDuel seems like a lock. Yes, Blaze is a very nice play on FanDuel today. Jorge Mateo, Michael Harrison Rice, or Ozuna and Steer for DraftKings cash.
Every single question has Rice in it.
I don't have Rice on my DraftKings cash team today. I'm going to be, he's not on my team. He's like an odd man out. I would like to have him, but I'm just not getting him on my team today.
I think he's better in that combo that you mentioned. I would take the one that had Rice in it, but I forget the combo at this point.
Is Michael Harris and Rice? Harris is cheap. He's still hitting fifth lefty. I don't know if I'd like that. Or Ozuna and Steer. Like these options, these are not the plays I'm looking for. I would go. So Mateo, if you want to play Rice, go from Harris to like Yoshida or who's the other $2,900 bat? Is it Yastrzemski? Or no, it's Tauchman. So I go from Harris to Tauchman or to Yoshida, and then play Rice is what I would do and try to save some salary or use that salary elsewhere. All right, Spidey Bomb. TJ, did they get the 7?
For what it's worth, I do like Harris better than Tauchman tonight. I'm on the Harris side. Okay, no, maybe not. I didn't realize how Logan Allen's ground ball rate to lefties. I was just looking at it now. Spidey Bomb number 5, Ben Rice. We're talking about him so much, plus 400. So we got a total of 5 going out there for you guys today. We're hitting lock right now, so I don't think we'll get up to 175 likes for another one. But we got Marcell Ozuna, Jazz Chisholm, Ronald Acuna, Kyle Manzardo, and capping it off with some Ben Rice.
Yeah, and just we didn't really even talk about this, and I don't know. We still have a couple of minutes to do this one. We didn't really talk about Andrew Heaney. He's the probable long reliever. He's been demoted to the bullpen. Does anyone? It's with the wind in anything like that? It's just he had like an okay-ish start to the season, but he's fallen off. Justin, does that interest you at 55?
No, I mean it's no guarantee. It seems like he's on the outs with the coaching staff. Like, there's no way, no circumstance I'd give that a shot. Yeah,
it's hard. If you think the probable long reliever, you get these guys at like sub 1% ownership, and it kind of works out. But I don't know if I'd want to do it against the Cubs, even when the wind blowing in. It's got to be a better long reliever than Andrew Heaney, right, Justin?
I don't know if the Pirates have one, unless they're moving Skeens to long relief. But
I'm not. I don't want to play him really, but I'm getting to a little bit. So I'd rather play Hatch as my cheap guy, close my eyes, cross my fingers than Heaney.
I'd rather play I'd rather play Hatch than Heaton, for sure. And I'm not on Hatch really at all. So I think that's about do it.
Sorry, my dog just barked into the mic. I was trying to pull.
I was like, what was that?
I thought I
like
could
a
very
smoke alarm.
quietly pull a mat out of his hair that was that just like built up at the back, and then he got mad. So I'll wait to do that till we're off the show. I'll cut it off.
All right. We'll let TJ get into the grooming business as soon as the show's over. Justin, been fun doing a show with both you guys. Thanks to everybody for watching. If you didn't click a like to get all the Spidey bombs earlier, please click it on your way out. Other than that, have a good day and enjoy your weekend, what's left of it. For TJ and Justin, I'm Britt. Thanks for watching, and we out.